All right, guys. So I've been seeing way too much Sid slander. Sid is not mid, and I feel like a lot of you guys don't really understand his passive and don't really understand where he can be used the best to his maximum potential. So we're gonna go ahead and showcase Sid without Monarch and with Monarch and show you guys his actual potential and explain to you guys what he actually does. All right, let's get right into this video. Okay, so we're here in Sandbox and we have our Subaru down. Let's just go ahead and get him his upgrades, select units. Let's go Haruka Rin, Dancer, place her down, and then actually he's kind of way too far up. I don't want Subaru hitting anything. Let's just place down Sid for right now. Select units. Let's get a new Subaru up. Don't want him getting any of those hits in at all, to be honest. Sid, as you can see, is doing a multi-hit attack, starting at 5.8k placement with marksman. Unit passive, by the way, we do have Z plus stats all around. 5.3 SPA, 31 range. This is going to be a kind of in-depth showcase showing off everything. He has a swap mechanic. When we swap, his placement damage is the Lord of the Shadows placement damage is 3.9. It is going up, as you can see, for 4k, 2.7 SPA, 40 range. So range increases, SPA decreases, damage decreases a little bit, but it's stacking over time. So let's go ahead and switch back over. The familiar that we have is the Dark Spirit. So that gives us a little bit more meter, allows us to switch a lot more frequently while we are on Sid, which is going to buff him a lot. Okay, unit passive, dramatic entry. This unit gains a gauge, which is this right here, his swap gauge. On attack, the gauge fills by 12.5%, and with this right here, 54.1%, that's giving him almost 7% more swap. So it's probably coming to about 20% whenever he attacks, 19%, 20% whenever he attacks. When this gauge is filled, this unit can then press the unlocked active ability to swap into its counterpart. On entry, damages all enemies in range for 80% of this unit's damage and buffs damage by 40% for 30 seconds. So we're on Smith John right now. When we switch into Lord of the Shadows, we get 80%. When we switch into Smith John from Lord of the Shadows, we get 80% damage to all enemies in range, AoE, and then buffs all of his damage for 40% for 30 seconds. Okay, cool. Whenever he swaps, he does a big AoE damage that is not shown. It's not reflective of his DPS. Big AoE damage has 80% of his unit's damage, and then buffs his own damage by 40% for 30 seconds. Cool. Then we have Undercover Agent. Gains the unknown element, which will make him immune to status ailments. On attack, if this unit has already attacked the enemy, increases the damage of that attack by 5%. So that means if he's attacking one enemy multiple times, he has 5% stacking damage infinitely. So for example, if we spawn a boss, select units or select enemies, we go and give this guy a 10 times health multiplier. Maybe that's a little too much because we're level 1, and then put out Tui. And Sid is, let's go priority bosses. The damage is going to be stacking. Hopefully I have the damage indicator on. I do not. Let's see. There we go. So then we can just see the stacking damage that he's doing to the enemies. As you can tell, he is stacking. So let's just go ahead and upgrade him a little bit. That's fine. We can 2,000, 2,300. You see it started off at 1,400. This damage is still stacking. 2,428. This damage is still stacking. 2,300. Again, I am upgrading him, so the damage is going up already, but he is getting that 5% damage stacking every time he's hitting an already hit enemy, 3.9k. The next attack is probably going to do more, 4.1k. The next attack is going to do way more, another 5%, 4.2k. You see, it's scaling up and up and up and up. Now I understand why you guys may say, oh, what if the unit gets out of the range, yada yada yada. Yes, that is true. If the unit walks out of Sid's range, that 5% stacking damage will not, matter anymore at that point, right? But the thing about it is, that's why he has that switch mechanic. And let's finish up his passive, then we talk about that. If the enemy has more health than this unit deals 40% more damage. So he's basically a boss killer. Smith John counterpart is a boss killer. Then we switch into, boom. You guys see that little AoE that he just did that just killed most of the enemies there? That's this right here. When he switches into Lord of the Shadows, he's doing 150% AoE. 150% of his damage as an AoE attack that is not reflected in his DPS, then buffs his range by 30% for 30 seconds. So his range gets crazy big, and then does an AoE damage attack on switch. That's 150% of his damage, right? Now, whenever this unit gets a takedown on an enemy, gains 0.5% damage and 0.25% range, up to 100% damage and 50% range. And then this buff is lost on swap. It's lost on swap. Okay. So that means you probably don't want to stay on Lord of the Shadows all the time, right? This unit is immune to debuffs, increases damage dealt to the enemy based on the percentage of their missing health. Okay, he's immune to debuffs. He becomes a blast unit, so then you're able to get buffed by Archer right here. So a little combo that you could probably do is, if you're on Smith John, you pop Archer, you pop your Archer active ability, buffs blast damage units. You switch into Sid in an infinite, and then boom, pop that. You get that 150% AoE, and then you pop his active skill. That's a nuke, and it's doing way more damage. You guys got to think about the amount of units in the game that are actually helping Sid and Smith John do so much more than what they look like on paper. Now, let's go ahead and switch back and finish Lord of the Shadows passive. Yeah, we've got this covered. Unit is immune to debuffs, of course. This does not include energy sap, so his yeah, it doesn't include energy sap, I don't think. So he can still be energy sap by the new units. I'm not sure though. If you guys know, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But let's go ahead and just max out Sid. As you can see, he's a full AoE character. He is doing a whole bunch of damage. He's stacking 55k. This is with marksman. Again, this is with marksman. So I can place 3 Sids and they will all be doing the same exact thing. All right. So 25k, these guys are stacking. Got to give them time to stack. 57k right here, Lord of the Shadows. That's this passive right here that's stacking. He's getting that 0.5% damage, stacking. And then he has this active ability, all range atomic. This does 50% times the amount of swaps this unit has done to all enemies in range, and his range is huge. Okay, so that means however many times you swap 20 times, 30 times, 50 times in an infinite. You put your auto swap on and it just keeps swapping and swapping and swapping and swapping over and over again. And then you have this familiar right here that's giving you 50% more meter on every attack, and you're just getting those swaps in frequently. That 50%, that 50 times the number of swaps scales immensely. The only thing is that it resets on use. So if you have been swapping all match, you swapped 100 times, you use the nuke, then you're back at 0 swaps, and then you have to do it all over again. Okay, and Sid is like destroying my screen right now. But yeah, let's turn this off, and let's go ahead and just use the active ability. 50% times the number of swaps. Boom, all range atomic, and he just does a crazy amount of damage on a 170 second cooldown. Cool. Let's go ahead and swap. They won't know. His Smith John's active ability deals 600% more damage on the next attack to the highest HP enemy in range. So this guy is a boss killer. He's just a boss killer. You want him out for the bosses. So let's go health multiplier 10 and bring out Mace Statue. And 600% more damage to whoever's in range. He gets that damage stacking. Hopefully we can get that up. Oh yeah, we gotta get rid of these shields. I'm not gonna lie, guys. We gotta get rid of these shields. Don't like that. Yeah, him not being multi-hit is kind of a L, but okay, cool. All right, let's see what he can do. How much that? Oh, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. That right there, almost 500k damage just from that, and he's still stacking. He's constantly stacking. How much damage? 32k. Let's see what it goes up to. 33k. Damage is stacking. 4-second SPA. Damage still stacking. Still going up. And he's immune. He's immune to status ailments. 36k. This guy is a must bring he's a must bring in infinites. He's a must bring. He may not have the craziest early game damage, but that's not what he's for. He's not mid. If you said, okay, yeah, Sid is not useful for contemporary content, regular content, going through story mode, he's not a story mode crusher, cool. But taking him into long raids, bringing him into difficult content, difficult events that actually matter, rifts, infinites, yeah, you need to bring Sid. Like bring him. Why don't you bring Sid? There's no reason not to. He has 2 nukes. He's getting 150, like that nuke right there that we just saw, that doesn't show up in his DPS. It doesn't show up in his total DPS at all. It does not show up. So you have to take these things into account. Now let's take a look at Sid with Monarch. All right, here we have Monarch Sid, 24.98k on placement. Same passive as before. Meters is the same as before. Let's take a look at Lord of the Shadows. He has 17k on placement, and let's just go ahead and max him out and see what he's doing. Yeah, you know, already 193k, 30k DPS, 6-second SPA. Yeah, like come on, 198k. He's stacking right now. Now he does lose this stacking when he swaps, but come on, like look at this, 200k, and it just keeps going up. 220k, it just keeps going up. The DPS, you can see the damage in range is going up, the DPS is going up. This guy is ridiculous. Now I'm gonna come back when he reaches his full passive so I can show you Lord of the Shadows maxed out with this whole passive completely maxed. All right, here we go with Sid Monarch maxed out with Z plus stats, 287k damage, 6.4 SPA, and 62 range, which is crazy. He has 45k DPS, 1.8 million damage in range, and we can just keep swapping. Really wish we had been swapping before getting his max, but this is just to showcase his max. Let's go all range atomic. Boom, pop that. Just a straight nuke. 299. He just dropped to 299k. Yeah, like come on, this guy is ridiculous. Let's switch to They Don't Know. Smith John, 179k, 4-second SPA, 44k DPS, 1.6 million damage in range. We can pop this, deal 600% on the next the enemy hit. Let us switch him to bosses. Select enemies. Let's put this health multiplier to 50 and get, well, I don't know, Frieza out here. 12 million. Okay, let's see what he's doing to Frieza. All right, here we have 2 Friezas. One is at 11 million health and one's at 5 million. We have our Smith John that's here. We can go ahead and switch into Lord of the Shadows. Get the nuke off. Then we can pop this. Get this nuke off as well. Get our swap meter up. Every attack. Yep. One more attack. Cool. Then we should be able to switch now. Should be able to switch. Oh, he's stunned. What? What? He's stunned. Okay. Now we can switch to They Won't Know. Boom. Now we're stacking. We're at 179k. Let's go ahead and pop this while he's at 179k immediately. So he has that 80% damage buff. And then Frieza transforms, of course. And then if you're running 4 Sids and they're constantly stacking, it's just, it's GG. It's GG basically. So you guys just have to, he's really a niche unit. Sid is really a niche unit. He's not a bad or shit unit. He's really niche and you use him in certain situations. All right, Sid is not mid. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like down below. Comment what you think about Sid. Do you still think he's mid? Do you think it's bad? Do you think he's good? Let me know. And subscribe. And subscribe to Q's channel. Link will be in the description below. He has a YouTube channel. He's doing anime Vanguards content as well. Go check him out. It's your boy LorTomo. Peace. Wait.